beginning, there was nothing but darkness and formless void, until God spoke and light broke through the emptiness. Over 6 days, he built the world piece by piece. He separated the light from the darkness, the sky from the sea, the land from the water. He filled the oceans with creatures beyond counting, the skies with birds, the earth with every kind of animal, lions and lambs, eagles and ants, creatures of every shape God could imagine. But on the 6th day, God did something different. He didn't simply speak this creation into being. He knelt down, gathered dust from the ground, and formed it with his own hands into the shape of a man. Then he breathed his own breath into that lifeless form, and the man became a living soul. His name was Adam, meaning quite literally, formed from the earth. God placed Adam in a garden unlike anything that has ever existed since. Eden, a paradise overflowing with every tree pleasant to the eye and good for food, rivers branching out to water the land, gold and precious stones woven into the landscape itself. At the center of that garden stood 2 remarkable trees, the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Adam's job was simple, sacred even, to tend the garden and to name every living creature God had made. But as Adam moved among the animals, giving each one its name, something became clear. Every creature had a mate, a companion, a counterpart. Adam alone stood without one. God saw it too. "It is not good for man to be alone," he said. So he caused Adam to fall into a deep sleep, and while he slept, God took a rib from his side and formed it into a woman. When Adam woke and saw her for the first time, he spoke words of pure joy. "This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, for she was taken out of man." Her name was Eve, meaning the mother of all the living. And together, Adam and Eve stood in the garden completely naked and completely unashamed. There was no sin yet to hide, no fear yet to feel. Just 2 people walking in perfect harmony with each other, with creation and with the God who had made them both. God gave Adam and Eve extraordinary freedom. They could eat from any tree in that vast garden, except one. You may eat freely from every tree in the garden, but from the tree of knowledge of good and evil you must not eat. For in the day you eat from it, you will surely die. It wasn't a harsh restriction in a garden overflowing with abundance. It was one boundary in a world of endless freedom, meant to protect something Adam and Eve couldn't yet fully understand. Trust, obedience, a relationship built not on control, but on love freely given and freely returned. For a time, that's exactly what they had. Untouched perfection, unbroken communion, a world without shame, without fear, without death. But not everything in that garden was safe. Among the creatures God had made was the serpent, described as more crafty than any other animal in the field. And one day the serpent approached Eve, not with a direct attack, but with a question, carefully designed to plant doubt. Did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the garden? It was a distortion from the very first word. God had never forbidden all the trees, only one. But Eve corrected him, explaining they could eat from any tree except the one in the middle of the garden, or they would die. The serpent pressed further, this time with an outright lie. "You will not certainly die. God knows that when you eat from it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." It was a masterful deception, not a claim that God was wrong, but a suggestion that God was withholding something good, that his command wasn't protection, but restriction, meant to keep Eve small, limited, less than she could be. Eve looked at the tree with new eyes. It was good for food. She reached out, took the fruit and ate. Then she gave some to Adam, who was with her, and he ate as well. In that instant, everything changed. Their eyes were opened, just as the serpent had promised, but not into godlike wisdom, into shame. For the first time, Adam and Eve realized they were naked, and they felt it, desperately trying to hide what had once needed no hiding at all. Then they heard it. The sound of God walking in the garden in the cool of the day, just as he always had. But this time, instead of running toward him, Adam and Eve hid among the trees. "Where are you?" God called out, not because he didn't know, but because he was giving Adam the chance to come forward, to confess, to be honest. "I heard you in the garden, and I was afraid, because I was naked, so I hid," Adam admitted. "Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree I commanded you not to eat from?" And here, humanity's very first instinct toward blame revealed itself. Adam pointed at Eve. "The woman you put here with me, she gave me the fruit and I ate it." Eve, in turn, pointed at the serpent. "The serpent deceived me and I ate." No one took responsibility. Instead, the fracture that had opened in their relationship with God immediately spread into their relationship with each other. God's judgment fell in 3 directions. To the serpent, he declared it cursed above all creatures, condemned to crawl on its belly, and pronounced an ancient prophecy, enmity between the serpent's offspring and the woman's, one that would one day crush the serpent's head, even as it struck at his heel. A promise of ultimate victory, buried inside a moment of devastating loss. To Eve, God said her pain in childbirth would greatly increase, and that the harmony between her and Adam would become strained, marked by struggle. To Adam, God said the ground itself was now cursed because of him. What had once produced abundance freely would now require painful labor, sweat and toil, choked with thorns and thistles, until the day he returned to the very dust he was formed from. For dust you are, and to dust you will return. And then, the most devastating consequence of all. God could not allow Adam and Eve to reach out and eat from the tree of life while carrying sin, living forever in that broken state. So he sent them out of the Garden of Eden, out of the place where they had walked freely with their Creator, and placed cherubim with a flaming sword at the entrance, guarding the way back.